right, happy Sunday. It is Sunday, September 18th. If you're watching on YouTube, you can check the timestamps below for your readings, and they're timeless for you when you see this. Hey Marina, for anyone, hi, what's going on? What's up, everybody? I'm gonna try and get this all angled correctly. Okay, cool. Hey Sydney Ford, how's it going? Happy Sunday. What is rocking for everybody? How's everyone doing? Hey, that's your girl. What's new? What's new? What's this? Oh, okay. I'm gonna get this out of the way. We're gonna unmirror it, and that way it's ready to go. Hey, Rockin' Robin, good to see ya. Mary Bloom, good to see you. Been wild? Dang. Hopefully in a good way. Hey, extra small popsicle, good to see ya. Aspiring human, good morning, good to see you. Good morning, Diane's Dream Lashes. Good morning. How are you doing? The Mitch 111. How are you doing? Ooh. Good morning. So we're just gonna do what we've been doing, which is the collective, readings, the channeled readings for the signs by zodiac element. So we'll do the collective reading, we'll do the fire signs and the air signs and the earth signs and the water signs, and then we'll probably do a channel at the end. Yeah, I know I'm a little bit late for today's live. I know I hopped on a little bit later than normal, but I'm here. I'm ready to go. What's new? A lot is new. I've got a lot in the oven, so to speak. But I think you'll see, if you don't see it later this month, you'll definitely see it in October. There's just a lot coming around. I have a membership thing coming up that I've been working on that's finally ready to go. So I'm going to be doing that soon, which will be exciting. And then I have another surprise that's coming up too, which will be good. So, you missed me for the first time last week. Oh, dang. It's on YouTube, but I missed you now that I know you weren't there, because I feel like I always see you, Aspiring Human. But I'm also really honored and appreciate that you're here so often, even if you missed the last one. So, and of course there's never an obligation, but, dang, I thought last week's did go well, but I don't think that's because you were gone. I really don't think that's because you were gone. It wasn't. Yeah, me too. I'm really excited. And then of course there's other things too that are going on that are really fantastic. So, with the, I won't talk about it right now. We can talk about it later. Booking my first one-on-one with you early October. Excited. Awesome. That's gonna be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Good morning, Sandra Curls. Okay, we're gonna dive into the collective reading. I know we normally have wait for more people, but I don't want to wait. And they're telling me to start diving in. So collective reading. I want to make sure I put this on when I start the reading. Just it helps me timestamp it. So yeah, I'll put it up. We'll just start. So this is for, if you're watching it now live, it's for you now. If you're watching it on YouTube, it's for you when you see it. So we're just gonna delve into the collective. Am I correcting you guys? The collective reading, just for everybody here, everyone who sees it. I did, of course, channel messages ahead of time for this live, for these readings, and of course my spirit guides, the angels, and source will bring through any additional information that's for the highest good as I go through those. So, they're kind of adding a theme to these that I don't think I prepared for ahead of time. I sort of did, but I didn't channel anything ahead of time for it. And one of the themes is how can you best spend your time right now? And they're adding that in right as I delve into this collective message. So what would be the highest and best messages and how you can best spend your time right now for everybody tuning in here? So the first thing I'm hearing, and this might sound a little obvious, but we're just rolling with what's coming through, is creativity and projects. Either both of those in the same thing, like creative projects, or it's like it's projects you're working on or things like that. If you're sinking your time into especially something that sparks your passion, but whether it's a business project or a creative project or endeavor, that's like one of the best things to be sinking your extra time into or time into if you can. This might also sound obvious as well, but anything you could spend time on for self-improvement right now would be good as like a secondary thing, whether it's a book. Like if you want to improve an area of your life, like finances, like a financial book would be great. But it's like just seeking those extra resources of knowledge in the areas you're lacking or want to improve would also just be gold right now. So those are just some of the first two things I'm hearing on like what would be best for you to spend your time on right now. But they really want to highlight creativity for everyone here because it does allow one to get into flow. I suppose it could allow someone to help to be their best selves, but even like a lot of people who are being creative and creating, a lot of the times it's highly possible that they are channeling while they're doing it, like channeling the artwork or channeling the music, etc. Even if you're newer to that or haven't consciously tried to do that before, it can be a way to get in the flow and start to channel as well. But I just feel like creativity is going to bring you to life is something I'm hearing just for everybody. So I would really keep that as something as an option to sink your time into right now for a lot of you. Another message I'm hearing is like, now might not seem like a good time to go for your dreams, but it is. I know we're in the middle of Mercury in retrograde and etc. But that's just what I'm hearing is like now is a good time to move towards that. And I think that's could be a secondary meaning of what they mean by projects when they were talking about projects and how best to use your time. Because like a lot of you are just meant for bigger things than you realize. That did come through in some of the different messages today as well, but they're just kind of saying it for everybody here while we're on the topic is like a lot of you are just meant for bigger things than you realize. And like you think you're here for small things and you're just supposed to watercolor paint in your basement or whatever, but maybe you're supposed to start a digital art studio and change the world with channel art or something. I don't know, but it's just an example they're showing me. So just keep that in mind as like, things might transform from where they are to something a lot bigger in the years ahead, and the possibility and potential to do so is like improving for each of you, even if you don't realize it, whether that's internal or just behind the scenes or maybe external as well. It's just time for improvements in the next year or so here regarding your path and like what you love to do. The more you're venturing towards that, the better. Even if it's on the side, even if it's in your spare time, that's okay. You got to start somewhere is kind of what I'm hearing, so don't discount that. There is more on like how can you best spend your time right now as well. Learning is just the third thing I'm hearing as well. So just like learning new things, again, like filling in the gaps of knowledge where you're lacking, like learning where you feel like you're lacking and things like that. And one thing I'm hearing is like, it makes the impossible possible. So what do I mean by that? You might think it's impossible for you to run a business and be successful and be the next Bill Gates or whatever. But maybe you're just missing like one little thing in marketing. And if you just got this one little thing click into place, you'd be like, oh, I get it. And all of a sudden business makes sense to you. And you could build like $1 billion business. They're just showing me that example where it's like, if you're willing to fill in those gaps of knowledge where it seems like something's impossible, but if you learn how to do it, then it becomes possible, is like a way I could phrase it. That's one thing I'd really recommend you do right now based on what I'm getting. They just said that's something you really should do, but I don't know. I don't always like the word should, but that's my thing, I guess, today. So anything else that would be for your highest good to know about as far as what you should spend your time on right now? That's it for the collective, for everyone here that they wanted to say. So we're gonna just move on to the channel messages I have here and whatever else they want to bring through for the highest good. Upshift. And upshift seemed like it was like the theme, or like uplift was like the theme of like another theme of all these readings that I did. It was like one of the first things they brought through for each of the readings. So, but for the collective upshift, but it's really, this one's about vibrational frequency upshift, and here's what they said. Vibrational frequency upshift imminent, going to higher places through December. So if you're seeing this in the future on YouTube after I do this, it's the next few months from whenever you're seeing this. So higher vibrations will be finding their seat a bit more. So after December, things are going to transform a lot. So after the next few months, again, if you're seeing this in the future. So pretty much what they're saying is one of the themes for September I was getting in the newsletter. I do these channel newsletters where I just channel messages on the month ahead and send it out the first of each month to everyone who signed up. That's on my website. But one of the themes for September, if I'm remembering correctly, was like higher vibrations coming in and just like finding their seat a bit more. So it kind of makes sense that this is coming through and like spurring off of that, if that's the right way to say that. But more, it's more just like over the next few months as those high vibrations find their seat a bit more, you know, post December, as like things transform as a result of that. Because it's like you're at a higher vibration, it's like you're vibrating out of the previous reality or the previous way things were. So anything you're doing to raise your vibration or feel called towards that is higher frequency, I'd also just heed the natural call towards those things. I feel like people are being drawn towards higher frequencies anyhow. It's just kind of a natural progression of humanity, if you want to say that is the way I'm getting the words. So things are going to be progressing that way, even if it doesn't seem like it, even if your grandpa's still a racist or something. It doesn't mean other people aren't finding high vibrations and moving out of the lower vibrational energies and shifting the planetary frequency or the collective frequency for the better, if that makes sense. So keep heeding that call, if you will. If you feel called to it, just know that there is a big upshift of vibrational frequencies happening and like going to be happening in the next few months. And a lot of things working out of your system to allow those high frequencies to land. So I'm even hearing things like generational trauma or things like that. Like there might be more release of those things, or you might have to face certain fears that have been holding you back, etc., to like move those the lower vibrational energies out and let the high frequencies find their seats and replace the old, so to speak. I'm also getting this message like it starts with you. It's like a lot of people think it's other people's jobs to like, and I don't even like the term fixing the planet, but we'll roll with it because I think you know what I'm getting to. Like a lot of people think it's other people's jobs to like fix society or fix the planet or, you know, etc. But it really kind of starts with all of us. So anything you're doing to improve yourself, your life, your frequency, and make changes, even if it's just starting with you, that's going to make a big impact instead of just like waiting on other people to change the world, so to speak. Just something to keep in mind. Next message, anything else on that? They are showing me lightning as well. They're showing me storm energy leaving. I feel like I got that was it like 2 months ago, last month, about like a storm leaving. I feel like this is a different storm, especially if it's like been a storm inside of you. Excuse me. Excuse me. I just feel like there's a lot of storm energy leaving. And just making space for peace, which is good. So if you feel like you've been in metaphorical storminess or stormy weather, you're gonna be feeling a lot better, is something I'd say in the next couple months here. But actually soon, I think sooner, because they give me the word soon when I say that. So the next thing they have here for me is a rhino. They showed me a rhino, and the message I got was charging ahead soon. So maybe there have been delays, but maybe there have been delays, but it's going to be time to move forward very quickly soon. Make sure you move forward when the opportunity presents itself. If you move forward, obstacles dissolve. So pretty much a message of like, when you have the opportunity to move forward, just do it. Even if it's like after Mercury in retrograde, I just feel like it's going to be sometime soon here. Don't delay your forward movement when you get that opportunity. And what does that mean for what would be the highest and best example for me to bring through for that one here? Maybe you've been like waiting to start a business and waiting to start a business and waiting to start a business, and suddenly like you have the chance to do it. Like you have like this extra money that came in, or you have this like extra time that you're gonna have or something. It's like, take that opportunity and like do it. Don't just like, oh, is it the right time? I don't know. Just they're kind of saying something like that. So keep that in mind. Next message here, new opportunities for everyone. So just a lot of new opportunities coming in for this collective. Make sure you are taking them, again, taking the opportunities as they present themselves, especially if they feel light for you to do or feel right. You're being guided in a new direction. It is time to take opportunities that come your way, especially after Mercury in retrograde. So I'm getting like the words new starts as well. I feel like they're going to be new starts, new opportunities like after this retrograde is over, like in October. November too is something I'm hearing, but especially like the middle to late October is something I'm hearing, like new opportunities coming in, or like restarts or like fresh starts. There's kind of like it's kind of multifaceted and like maybe different things for different people here a little bit too. But I would just be taking those opportunities when they show up for you, excuse me. Take the new opportunities when they show up for you. The next thing I have here, which is kind of a similar message, because like something that they talked about here was being guided in new directions. They just gave me the word redirection. They said a lot of this Mercury in retrograde that's happening right now is about redirection. So you may feel redirected soon. Just run with it. Redirection is always divine protection. So maybe you thought you were going to start one business and then you start a different one, or maybe you thought you were going this direction and then like the path just completely drops out and you have no way to go this way and you have to go the other direction. It's kind of a message that like redirection is divine protection, essentially. I'll tell this story because it's really fresh and I have like a bajillion others like it, but they all get the point across. I was just talking to someone and they were talking about how their shamanic instructor wanted to get their like PhD at college, but they had just graduated, I think, from whatever the master's, right? They just graduated at the level before a PhD, and they were like, oh, I want to go back to get my PhD, and their guides were like, no, don't do that, you don't need that. And then she like went to go do it anyways, I think, or she like checked back, and then like the school like ended up closing, the school that she was at, because the president was like embezzling money from it. And so then she ended up starting her shamanic practice, and it's been going to this day, and I think she's like in her 60s now, so it's been going a long time to my knowledge. It was kind of one of those things where it's like, if she hadn't been redirected, like what would have happened instead? So it was kind of just that divine protection through that redirection. So you might find something not exactly like that, but maybe similar happening now or just in the near future here, where you're redirected in like but it's positive. I feel like it's in a positive way and it's leading to something better. And I don't even feel like it's going to be devastating. Like, sometimes like you really want something to work out with this like one person or whatever, and then like it just doesn't happen. And it's just like, and like it hurts for like a bit, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. I just think you can just peacefully redirect. Plus you're being redirected away from the storm is something they're showing me as well, because they're showing me the storm and they're giving me the words, plus you're being redirected away from the storm. So obviously that's the message. So if you do get redirected, it's away from like unnecessary storm energy. And by storm energy, what I'm talking about like in life is like where things are really stormy, things are rough. It's just like one thing after the other. It's like being outside in the middle of a storm when you don't have to be, if that makes sense. So next message here, just about divine protection. So a bit of a further message. They said there's a lot of divine protection on the rise for this crowd. So a lot of events that go, one thing they said, I just want to make sure I'm saying this right. A lot of events that might go sideways for you are actually divine protection without you realizing it. So if something does not go well, it is divine protection. And I was going to use one example, but they don't want me to use that example. So maybe you get a job and something happens and it just goes really terribly, and like just some type of mistake gets made, something happens, and it's just like you get fired or something. It's like that might be your divine protection, honestly. Or maybe someone else makes a mistake and they like ruin the job for you. I don't know. It doesn't have to be you making a mistake. It could be variety of things just not working out somewhere. Again, divine protection is something they're saying. So try not to see things as bad luck, but I would try to see things as like, where is this leading me? And I feel like you'll have a better time in this, like, it might even just be this next week or so, but that's something I'm hearing on that one as well. And divine protection can look a number of different ways. It can look like things going really well. It can look like certain things going really weirdly. It can look like something you really want not happening, of course. So, or it could just show up and it's very obvious that you're like, oh, that would have been bad and I was divinely protected. And I don't know. So just keep that in mind, that you're being divinely protected. So there is more. That's what I have channeled down ahead of time, but I do get there are more messages for everyone. So what would be the highest and best thing for me to bring through next for you guys? Starfish is showing up. Starfish spirit animal typically has to do with healing, rapid healing, and regeneration when it shows up. But for you guys right now, what does it mean here? They're showing this starfish. And they're talking about how starfish move really slow. Like, because it has the little like tubules on the bottom of it, right? And it just kind of like tubules along the bottom of the ocean floor and moves really slowly. But then they're showing the starfish like, one second here. Like speeding up and like rocketing forward. Like either it catches a current or they're showing like a rocket strapped to a starfish, but it's underwater and just like heading forward. So where things have been slow, they're going to pick up and go just a lot more quickly, essentially, especially after Mercury in retrograde. But I'm getting like through the end of the year, I just feel like there's like a bit of a power boost going on or turning on just for change in people's lives, but in a good way. It's going in a good direction, so just keep that in mind. That's going to be a positive thing for everyone here is what I'm getting. But that's it. That's what they wanted to show, and they want me to wrap up the collective reading, so excuse me, my nose is a little sniffly. But there's nothing else for the collective that they want to get into, so hopefully that made sense and resonated. We're going to move forward to the fire signs, as is custom for these lives as of right now. But I hope that resonated and made sense, is helpful, of course. So if you have a fire sign, sun, moon, or rising, this is for you. Well, if you're watching it live, it's for you now. If you're watching it on YouTube in the future, it's for you when you see it. So I'm gonna drink water as well before we jump in. I also have coffee. Nice. I think that's like some of the best coffee I've made yet. Okay, so how's it get better than that? So for the fire signs, I forgot that they're adding in this theme like as I delved into it, because I thought about this theme ahead of time and I didn't prepare channel messages ahead of time, so I'm just going to flow with the messages coming through regarding this theme. But it's like, how can you best use your time? But it's specifically for fire signs, sun, moon, or rising. Honestly, I'm hearing moving forward. So even though it's Mercury in retrograde, I would be like taking action on things. I would be like moving relationships forward. I'd be moving businesses forward, jobs forward. I'd be like not delaying your progress. So anywhere you can think to move forward in something, I would be doing that. As like a use of your time for the fire signs. It's like, what's my next step forward? And for some of you, you already have momentum. Like for instance, if you're in, the example that comes to me is like, if you have a project you're working on and you've already been working on it, it's like, you might already be in the flow where you're moving that forward, right? But pretty much part of the message is just not delaying moving things forward right now for the fire signs, sun, moon, and rising. So what else would be the highest and best use of your time right now for the fire signs, sun, moon, and rising besides moving forward here? I would also just be looking into like healing your emotional realms, I guess you could say, your emotional bodies, because they're showing someone just like healing their sacral chakra and working on the emotional thing. And they're giving me those words like, working on your emotions and working on yourself, but it was geared towards the emotions. So especially like emotional stability, emotional well-being, it's like, what are the steps you can take towards that? If that's self-care, I don't care if it's bubble baths or whatever, it's what can you do to regulate that and spend your time on balancing that? And sometimes that just looks like meditating every day, or doing something that helps one regulate emotions with consistency. So I'd be adding something onto your days that, if you're not already doing that, helps lend itself towards emotional stability and clarity. Again, meditation's great. One thing that came through, because I think I was going to channel messages through on like ahead of time on like how can you best spend your time, but I just didn't end up doing that ahead of time. And one of the things they did show was like being in trance or meditating was something that came through, and then I was like, never mind, I'm just gonna see what they have me do during the live. But I think I'll just say it anyways. Like, it might just be a good idea to meditate in general right now for the fire sign, sun, moon, and rising. And maybe it's more of a personal thing, but I hesitate to like say that sometimes in readings because it sounds so trite maybe to me, where it's just like overused. It's like, make sure you meditate. I don't know, but I don't think it actually is. I think it can be really helpful when it comes through. So I'm just going to trust the messages that come through. So they don't want me to spend any more time on how to use your time. We're going to move to the other channel messages that came through for you, and just see what else would be highest to come through for you as I do so. For the fire signs, big uplift, which was kind of like, it kind of came through for almost everyone, but it was different for each sign. So hot air balloon filled with fire and expanding. So that's the visual they showed me when I was getting this message, was like a hot air balloon, but it was like really expanding. Like there was a lot of fire going into it. And I think they like to use that visual sometimes for the fire signs because hot air balloons utilize fire and they like to be like that. But the message is, if there has been turbulence, you are being lifted above it. You're being lifted above the turbulence. You are going to be gaining a lot of clarity soon. They also showed a lightning strike and they said you are being brought above the storm. So I know we just kind of talked about storm energy leaving for the collective, but specifically for the fire signs, you're kind of being elevated above it. So the other message is, where other people might be suffering, you are not going to be suffering. Take it as a blessing. You are meant to survive the storm. So there might be certain things happening in the collective right now or for people around you. And you might be like, why am I not suffering too? I would just take it as grace and run with it. There is this concept where it's like, if every single person on earth were like stuck in the mud at the same time, like there wouldn't be anyone with a frequency outside of that to lift anyone else out of the mud. We'd all just be stuck in the mud until someone maybe found a way out. So the universe doesn't typically afflict us all at the same time with certain things, is something I've noticed. Like one story I could talk about with this was one time I think it was like my friend went to this event, like this mind, body, spirit event, and she got this reading, and this reading was just like a little bit odd, or just like wasn't totally there, and she was just like a little bit like upset, but she was just like, is this true? Is this not true? And she kind of called me, and I kind of like channeled for her. I channeled for her about it. I'm like, yeah, don't worry about what that person said, yada, yada, yada. It's like, it just wasn't, like it just wasn't right. For you, it just wasn't totally, it was like the reading was partially accurate, but not everything was. And then like a week later, I was having like a weird as heck day. Like I was just having like probably just a way not great day. And I was just like, I think I need a reading. I don't know. So I walked into I just went somewhere I shouldn't have gone. And I knew I shouldn't have gone there for a reading that I knew I shouldn't have gotten. And I paid like $50 for this 20-minute astrology session that was just not, it just wasn't there. And then I called my friend, the same friend who had called me, and I was just like, bro. And she was kind of correcting everything. She's like, like I just went through the same thing last week, remember? And one of the things they showed me after like we kind of had that conversation and everything got settled, and I was like, okay, everything was more corrected, was like, like if she and I had both had that experience at the same time, it's like, think of like if the earth were spinning and like too much weight was on one section of the globe. Like if we just took all the structures and all the humans and all the animals and all the trees and put it on like, 1 square mile of land and like had all this extra weight, or like, the earth might like be like wobble out of orbit, you know, or something crazy like that. It's like, so sometimes things are a little bit more balanced where things are not happening to everyone at the same time. Otherwise, everything would like wobble and spin out of orbit and wouldn't be balanced. Not sure why I'm getting into that, but that's kind of what this is reminding me about, honestly, is like, if you're not suffering, there's a reason for that. And like, don't feel like you're wrong for that. Even if you feel like a lot of other people are suffering around you, maybe you're the person who's supposed to help them out of that suffering. And I'm not saying that just because everyone else is suffering around you means you're going to be in the future because of that story I just told. That's just, for some reason, I felt called to bring that in and talk about it, and they were telling me to, so I did. But I would just realize you're going to be uplifted and like moved above turbulence in your life, and you're going to be having a lot of clarity. You might also be having a lot of clarity for other people, and like helping them in a certain way is something they're showing me. It's like, if you're someone who has clarity, there's a reason you have it. So don't discount the good you're going to do by not being in the storm with other people. So anything else on that fully for the highest good here? I also just see you being uplifted out of old ideas, out of old things that have been holding you back. I just feel like that's where the current is headed right now for everyone anyways. So there's just a lot of energies uplifting you out of your old self, are the words I'm hearing, which is really interesting as well, which kind of makes sense with the high vibrations coming in that we talked about for the collective reading. So keep that in mind. I do also get things are going to be smoother for you, where maybe they've been hectic. Like you might be finding your balance with a hectic schedule, or you might be finding your balance in general in some way where things felt a little sporadic. It's more just like consistent and steady, and less like a whirlwind, which is good. Next message I have channeled down here for you. Not everyone has to, okay, I think I already just talked about this, but I'm going to just read the message here as well, just in case. Not everyone has to go through the storm. You do not have to take the same routes as others and suffer. Go your own way and you will rise. Follow your own calling. Keep going the way you're going if it's working for you. However, keep it in mind to go your own way based on what your intuition is telling you. It will lead to success. So the other message, so besides the one I just talked about with the orbit and the spinning, the other message they have for you is like just to follow, pretty much either forge your own path or follow your own calling or follow your own heart. And if you see everyone else going this direction that sucks, you don't have to go that direction with them, if that makes sense. And it reminds me of this story. I think it's a movie somewhere, but I don't remember the specifics. And I don't think I've actually watched the movie. I think it was just like a commercial for a movie I saw, or someone I heard talking about the movie or something. And like they're giving me this phrase like, you know, my father was a policeman, and his father was a policeman before him, or something like that. It's like you don't have to follow your parents, one, but you also just don't have to follow the crowd into like crappy things. They used the other word, but crappy things. So honestly, following your intuition and going your own way is probably going to work out for you in the future. Even if you don't think you are right now, like trust you'll get the opportunity to do so at the right time. And I would definitely consider doing that, because I feel like that's going to move you in the best directions. So you don't have to suffer like everyone else is something I'm hearing. Hopefully that makes sense. Next message. You are headed in the right directions. So just a quick reminder that you're headed in the right directions, not to worry too much. So there was a message that came through for the water signs, but I want to see if they're kind of showing it to me. So is that for the fire signs as well? So there's a lot happening at different times for people, where people are changing tracks, or changing realities, or it's like more is becoming possible for people. I do feel like yours is coming up soon. I feel like for the water signs, it's like happening right now, but we'll get to that when I get to that reading. So just keep that in mind, like your track is going to be changing. I'm borrowing that phrase. Well, first of all, it's what they showed me. They gave me the visual of like the train tracks and like the track changing. But that phrase originally, as I encountered it on the physical level, I guess, was from Access Consciousness, and they talk about like changing tracks. And I believe changing tracks is like when they use the example of the 100 monkeys thing, where it's like scientists observed a monkey washing fruit, and then the monkey showed his friends how to wash fruit, and then all of a sudden all these monkeys washed fruit. But what they observed was after like the certain amount of monkeys could wash fruit, like 100, populations of monkeys not connected to that had no interaction with them started washing fruit like around the world. So it's kind of like that concept of like changing tracks where it's like something becomes possible for everyone because a certain threshold has been reached collectively where it can, if that makes sense. So there are just a lot of tracks changing for the better. For some, that's like literally like a train track in new directions. For others, it's just like a higher reality and more possibilities. Even like more success is something I'm hearing. So in the next few months, that's going to be happening for you or something like that is something I'm hearing. So, but you are headed in the right direction, even if your tracks change. Next message here, roller coaster. They said, take time to breathe and relax, and the roller coaster of life fades. It won't. So if you felt like things have been up and down like a roller coaster, it won't seem more up and down. It will seem more peaceful. And from there, you can create something better. So kind of like how one of the best ways to spend your time, the message was like meditating. And like, you know, I don't know if you actually want to get into trance. I don't know. But some of you obviously have that capability. But if you feel like life has been a roller coaster, I would really take time to like sit and be and relax and let that fade. And it's kind of like that gets replaced by peace. But it's almost like that weirdly affects everything. And it's not just like you feel more peaceful. I think that's going to actually move things in a more peaceful direction in general. Or the roller coaster just won't seem as severe is something I'm getting as well. But I just feel like that would be really helpful for you right now. So again, I have a message that's really similar written down. Take time to just be and your life resolves. I know sometimes, I would keep putting action and taking action and moving things forward, etc. At the same time, the message, take time to just be and your life resolves. Sometimes all you have to do is just be and things get better, weirdly. I'm kind of getting that for you for this time period from whenever you're seeing this. At least the next week or so is like, I would take time to just be. And like sometimes that just clears something up in your mind and things get easier for you. Or sometimes you think you have to do something to fix X, Y, and Z, but you really don't, and the problem just fixes itself. So the universe is really urging you to focus on you and your path and like your just self-growth and just being with yourself even. I feel like that will change a lot in a weird way, even if you don't think it will. And if you think about it, that kind of is taking action in a sense, because you're taking time to just be, you're putting your awareness on things, and that can have an effect all its own and change things on its own as well if you don't limit it. So keep that in mind. Next thing here, giraffe, the path clearing. So if things have been, giraffe is our friend. He always shows up. Not always, but a lot of the times he shows up, and he typically has to do with people's paths. But I really feel like if things have been foggy, they won't be. I feel like the path is actually clear for you. You just might not realize it. So, like sometimes we have this clear path and maybe you're caught up in your head, or like you're listening to something like all these other people are telling you and you're like, is it though? Is it a clear path? But it obviously is. It just doesn't seem like it. So I feel like you're going to be getting clarity on the clear path ahead of you is something I'm getting. So just keep that in mind. Next message here, I do get new beginning. A new beginning is just on the horizon and you are headed towards new things through and through. So that kind of speaks to the track changing as well. I just feel like in December, things are going to be new for you, like a lot of newness. And I know like if you're watching this live December, maybe if you're watching this like before December on YouTube as well, but if you're watching this in the future, give yourself like 3 to 4 months, I'd say. But I just feel like I've been saying this, but I'll keep saying it until I'm guided to say something else. I just feel like a lot of new beginnings are on the rise for you. Even if you've already had some, there's like more is something I'm getting as well. It's just kind of like you're in this big life transition. And it's not always just like one thing. Like sometimes there's a domino effect that occurs where you change one thing and then everything else changes. You change the next thing and then that causes this other thing to change. And you kind of have this, maybe you thought you had to change a lot to change your life, but you really just had to change one thing. And I feel like you've already changed it, or you're going to, for a lot of you. So there is going to be a domino effect of change kind of in a good way spiraling through your life in like the next year or so, based on past actions. So just keep moving forward and it'll be inevitable, but in a good way. Next message I have here, they just showed me an alien. They said, if you feel like an alien, that is okay. Be the unique you that you be, and let others figure you out at the right time. It is important you are yourself and not watering yourself down for anyone. We promise you will be happier if you are fully you. So I'll talk about like, even just like yesterday, I kept seeing these signs of like, be yourself, be fully yourself, be yourself. And what I kind of realized afterwards, because I went on this, it was like this walk to fight suicide is like how they branded it. It was like an out of the darkness into the light, like suicide awareness walk or something, yesterday. And I was going with the person I'm dating currently, and they currently, you know, they're involved with this therapy office. And so I went with them, and like one thing I realized was like, with the signs and what I was getting was, and after that event and hanging out with those people was like, you know, sometimes it might seem like you're encouraged. You're not actually encouraged, but it might seem like the best way to go about things just because of either past trauma or past situations is to not let like a certain side of you out as much. Like for me, it would probably be like the spiritual side or the channeling or intuition, or not talking about it as much. But it's like, what I realized afterwards is like, there was no real reason to ever water me or that side of me down, because that's such a big part of who I am and how I operate in the world. It's like literally, if not everything I do is because I channeled to do it. It's like, that's just how I operate. Like it's like 24/7. And I get really thrown off if I don't do it that way. But all that being said was like, I probably would have been totally fine if I just shown up totally myself and just like talked about whatever I was guided to talk about, or just said whatever was, you know, true to me and like what I'd experienced, and like not cared about what anyone thought. And like one of the t-shirts I saw that was like a sign for me was like, be you, they'll adjust. So I'm kind of getting that for you as well, where it's like, if you feel like an alien or you feel like you're watering yourself down for anyone, just be full of yourself. Like don't worry about it. And like, even if like certain people do leave, it's like you're really opening up and holding the right space for the right people that are like cool with you being full of yourself, being around you, if that makes sense. And you know what? Other people can often adjust and hold space for us being our full selves around them, even if you don't think they can, or they're not used to seeing you like that. It's just like, maybe they haven't had the opportunity and they're very willing to be non-judgmental and hold space for you and allow you to be all that you are. You haven't given them the opportunity, or maybe they just need a little bit of time to adjust to that if you show that side of yourself, if that makes sense. So, anything else for the fire sign, sun, moon, or rising? That's all I have written down ahead of time, channeled down ahead of time, excuse me. They're showing me the color yellow here. It is about personal power, and that links to the solar plexus chakra, but what's going on here? You're just really being called to stand your ground, especially regarding your truth, like what you know to be true, and not let people try to teach you something different, even if they think they know better or they think they're right. It's better that you're going with your truth than letting other people steamroll your truth. And long term, what I'm hearing is you're going to be happier that you went with what's true for you, what your truth is, as opposed to what other people are trying to teach you, maybe, if that makes sense. What's a good example for this here? Like, maybe, I feel like I had a conversation similar to this, but it's interesting the message is coming through, but maybe certain things about like psychology, and then like someone's trying to teach you something completely different, and they're trying to convince you like, oh, it works XYZ, but you just intuitively, or some other reason, you just know it doesn't work that way. It's just like, don't let them like change you on that just because they think they're right, if that makes sense. But that could apply to a bunch of different areas. But that's it for the fire sign, sun, moon, rising. There might be one more message. They're showing me like a wheat field, like just, you know, like that tall grass for like wheats, like this golden wheats. And what's up with, fully fast, what's up with this wheat field? They're showing this is really weird, but they're showing this wheat field filled with like tigers, but also apes or like gorillas. And like these tigers and these apes and gorillas think they're different and think they have to fight. But they could actually be the strongest allies the world has ever seen if they teamed up and like, maybe not like domesticated each other, but they're kind of showing me that, which is really weird. So what is this message trying to say? What is the highest and best clarification on this message here? for some reason, there's just a reminder not to see the people in your life as enemies, but to see them as potential allies. Because like the tiger and the ape in this scenario could like compensate for each other's strengths, and compensate for each other's weaknesses, if that makes sense, and like make a really great team. So like one of the messages is like, just because someone is different doesn't mean they're not for you. And I also kind of feel like you're either meant to team up with people, or it would be a good idea to team up with people, just so you can learn from them and they can learn from you, even if they're totally different and you think it makes no sense. I don't know about you, but I think tigers and apes would make, like, especially like gorillas would make a terrifying like hunting combination if they teamed up. Like, I don't know, weird message, but that's what I'm getting. They just want to reiterate a message of like going your own way, following your heart and your intuition, and not following other people's paths as well. I feel like that's an important message. They just want me to reiterate that for some reason. And we're going to move on. So I hope that resonated and made sense, and was good. And if that gorillas and tigers in a wheat field didn't make sense to you, maybe something synchronistic will happen that explains it more. So anything else? I feel like there's more. Like I honestly feel like there's more, but I'm also feel like I should close it out. So I'm just gonna take one more second with it. All right, they're just telling me to just wrap it up. I'm good. So we're gonna do that. Thank you, fire signs. We're moving on to our next friends here, the earth signs. So I'm gonna drink water before I move over here. All right, so if you have an earth sign, sun, moon, or rising, it's for you when you see it, especially if you're watching on YouTube in the future, it's for you when you see it. If you're here now, live, it's for you now, of course. And so for the earth signs, how can you best spend your time right now? Honestly, work is what I'm hearing instantly, like working on things, work, whether it's projects, business, or career, maybe logging in extra hours if you can, if it makes sense for your situation. But some form of work is like necessary right now. The universe is really trying to urge you forward. It's like really time for forward momentum. So if you're helping the universe with that, it's just gonna like double your efforts. So so the universe is already moving you forward, but if you're working with the universe on top of that, it's gonna double, triple, multiply your efforts. So now's a great time to work on things. It's, for some reason, they're showing this thing like a bonus multiplier. Like if you guys remember Guitar Hero or like certain video games, it's like if you had like a combo going and you were going for a long period of time without missing a note, and this is not going to literally translate, but bear with me while I explain this. Like you'd get these like multipliers, like to how many points you'd get for hitting each note. And so like if you had like a long string of notes, all of a sudden you'd have like these multipliers and multipliers and multipliers, and like you'd get way more points for the same note if you had like a combo going than if you were constantly making mistakes. So this isn't about making mistakes or being perfect necessarily. Though I know Virgo is part of the earth sign, so that might resonate for some of you. It's more about that multiplier aspect where it's like if you're working on things, it's like you get a bonus multiplier to what you're working on, or to the results you achieve through that. And I feel like you're gonna have that for a while, especially if you keep going. So just keep going and you have this like bonus multiplier to your work. It's like a really interesting message, but that's what they're showing me. And that's kind of it for what you should spend your time on. There were like a few more answers for the other readings we did so far, but that's what I'm getting for you now. So what I have channeled ahead of time for you here, and let's see what else my spirit guides and angels and source would like to bring through for you, fully, if that's good. What would be highest message for me to bring through for you? Just give me 1 second here. The first message I have for you here is uplift to your trajectory. So set your sights higher. If there are mountains that are presenting themselves to you or challenges, climb them. You are being asked to take on or to climb the tasks that the universe has given you. Rewards are at the top of that climb. Whether it's a business endeavor or something of the sort, climb the mountains. It could also be a relationship. But if you see certain challenges or things you want to do, but it looks like you have to metaphorically climb a mountain to get there, or you want something, but it seems like you have to work for it, it's like work for it. Like face those challenges, do it. I feel like it's going to be easier than you suspect for most of you in most instances, and it's just worth it. So I feel like if you're afraid of doing something but you feel called to do it anyways. I think the rewards will be, I'm getting the rewards will be great. So I'm trying to do better with language and that sort of thing. But if you have like these tasks that the universe has given you, or these challenges in front of you, and you feel called to do it, climb the mountain metaphorically. Your rewards will be great. Next message I have here, challenges resolve. So there might be certain things that seem challenging, but if you are willing to move towards what you feel called to move towards, challenges resolve really quickly and without pain. It is literally a matter of just moving forward. So I feel like you might feel like there are obstacles to you moving forward, but there really aren't. I feel like certain things might feel painful to you right now, but if you moved forward, they would stop feeling painful. Like it could be money, it could be a relationship, it could be something else. I feel like the other thing is like not moving forward is going to be more challenging than moving forward. So I feel like honestly, if you're willing to move forward towards challenges or things that seem challenging, they'll resolve really quickly and not be that challenging. So interesting message, but that's just what I'm getting. Next message here, they're showing me like straws and plastic straws as well. There's a reminder not to be wasteful right now, like even of your energy. So like if you know what to do, try not to, I want to say this properly. What's the highest and best way for me to say this? If you know there's one project you should be working on, for instance, try not to branch out into like 20 other side projects before getting this project done and like wasting energy. It's like there might be certain things that's important you're tackling in the right order. So if you're intuitive in your channel, listen to that. Some of you might just already know. If you're confused by this, just like sit with it for a second and move towards what you think is most important, and you'll be redirected if that's not it. But try not to waste your energy on things that don't matter. They're showing me like scrolling through TikTok. It's like, how much, sometimes you get really important things out of scrolling through TikTok, sometimes depending on the situation, but sometimes you really don't. And it's just like, you just sat there for an hour scrolling and you didn't really get anything out of it. So just keep that in mind. It's important not to be wasteful with your energy right now, and maybe even your time as well. So keep that in mind. Next message here, higher challenges. So there's all these like messages about challenges, like the first few things, but here's the message on this one. The things that have been challenging you at higher levels are going away. And by higher levels, I feel like that could mean different things to each of you. Like that could be like energetic challenges or etheric challenges, or overcoming things in the etheric is something they're showing me. So I just feel like you're going to have ease and peace. So I want to see if they'll clarify the phrase higher challenges more for you guys, just so it makes more sense to all of you. So what would be the highest, most clarification on that here? So for some of you, these are even like challenges that you incarnated to overcome is something I'm getting. Like whether it's a lesson in relationships, or it's just like a high level challenge. And maybe even most people don't have to go through it, but I feel like this is something you've already been going through. I feel like those things are kind of resolving or going away, or like you don't have to deal with it as much, or it's like it's healed. So in whatever ways that resonates for you and it applies to you, high level challenges or higher challenges are going away. You'll just have more ease and peace. And they're giving me the word conquered. It's like you've conquered this challenge, or and some of you have done more than enough to do so, to conquer this challenge, whatever it is, or challenges. So it's just time for it to resolve. And I think like this Mercury in retrograde we're in now, or whenever you're seeing it in the future, is like when it starts to go away, or either completely goes away, or soon it's going to go away. Next message here, new beginning. So that also came through for the fire signs and maybe even the collective, but you too have many new beginnings on the horizon. Next year is huge for new beginnings. So whatever year you're seeing this, next year is going to be huge for it. If you are getting the opportunity to start over on something, please do it. It will reap rewards. So they were kind of showing like multiple things a little bit. It's like you might have like new beginnings, or like an opportunity to start over on something that went awry in the past is something I'm getting. I would just trust it and do it and roll with it, essentially, but that's just what I'm getting. So the next thing they showed me, is there more on that here? there's just this reminder again to take the opportunities that are coming your way, especially like big ones. There might also be opportunities that don't seem big, but they are big. So if opportunities come in, just like sit with it and like really consider taking it. It might be important. So next thing here, especially in like the next month or so from whenever you're seeing this, or 2 months. Next message here, they're also showing me like 48, the number 48. So what's that about? It's either 48 hours or 48 days. So pay attention to those numbers or opportunities that come in either in the next 48 hours or 48 days from whenever you're seeing this. Rhino, spirit animal, move forward regardless of the circumstances. Now, today, keep going. So again, just this reiteration of the message to like move things forward, like now, even if it's Mercury retrograde or whatever is going on, like keep moving things forward. It's like they don't care. It's kind of what I'm hearing. Like they're like they don't care what the circumstances are. Like move it forward. And it's one thing if you're like laid out and like you're sick and you literally can't move. It's like that, you know, just in general around this time period, be moving things forward. I have a sticky note on me. So next message here, spaceship. They showed me a spaceship. They gave me the phrase out of this world. They said there are going to be out of this world events coming your way for some of you, like things that are really important or special or unique or amazing. And they also are saying like for some of you, you are out of this world and you're going to be proving to the world that you can do things that others can't. For some of you, your work is going to take off in some way. So maybe that's on social media, maybe that's a business, maybe that's even selling on Amazon. It could be different things for each of you, but there are certain things that are out of this world coming your way. For some of you, that is you. So anything else on that would be important for you guys to know? What would be highest and best for you on that one here? They want me to reiterate this message, like the things you are hoping for can happen. You just have to keep moving forward. Before I beat that message to death, the next message here is that you are meant to succeed, move towards your success. So again, you're just getting, I feel like I could have just said move forward and that would have like been half of this reading. But next here, mountain goat, they showed a mountain goat like on the side of a mountain, like, you know, and they just said things might seem precarious, but really they are fine. So the example they're giving is mountain goat. A mountain goat is fine on the side of a mountain, even if others would be in a really bad situation if they were in that position. So it's actually where the mountain goat belongs. So you might think things are precarious, or people might look at your situation and think it's precarious, but you're like the mountain goat on the side of the mountain, like you're supposed to be there. You're totally fine. It's like your jam. Like I kind of wonder, like, who were the first like settlers or people who encountered a mountain goat, like just standing on a mountain, you know, like just on like a sheer like cliffside, and like were they worried for those goats? Must be another. I mean, maybe they wanted them to fall so they could eat them. I don't know, but it's just kind of like, were they like freaking out, like, oh, don't fall, goat? I don't know, but that was just a random thought that popped in while I was on this thing. But just keep in mind, you're fine. Next message here, they gave me the words blow up, and it kind of might be a harken back to the message about like certain thing like your work might take off, but I was just getting this message like a good blow up, because I got the words blow up. I'm like, ooh, is that going to be like a bad blow up? But then they were instantly like good blow up, and like, you know how you're like good dog and you pat a dog, it was like they were an angel like in this visual was like patting a image of a blow up and like, oh, good blow up. But the message is something is going to be blowing up for you in a good way that you didn't realize would happen. Good for you. So I don't know why that is like good for you at the end of it, but I feel like it's good for you. So just keep that in mind, that that's something that's going to be coming up here. Again, they're giving me the numbers 48. It's like either 48 hours or 48 days. So I feel like in the next 2 days to 48 days. Next message here, parachute. They said you are protected from falling. If you reach great heights, keep going. You are not going to fall. The universe has a backup plan after backup plan for you. You are not going to fall, whether it's from a position of authority or success or anything of the sort. God has a plan and many plans after that. So pretty much just a message for the earth signs. Like it reminds me of the mountain goat thing. If you're afraid of falling, or maybe you've reached like a high up position or some success and you're afraid of falling, I don't feel like you actually are. And even if you did, I feel like there's a safety net like 2 feet below you. I feel like I've brought this message through for you before as well. Maybe it was a different sign at a different time in a different life, but it's just a reminder like you're protected from falling. I feel like things are going to be okay, or better than okay is what they're clarifying. Again, you just have to move forward and you won't fall. So they're also showing me a manatee. So what's up with this manatee for the highest good here? They're kind of just, if I'm not mistaken, they're kind of showing this concept of how manatees are like gentle giants. And they're kind of saying like, hey, like be like that. Like, yes, be a powerhouse, be amazing, be out of this world, but it's like also like be gentle with yourself and others and be kind. It reminds me of the movie Avengers Endgame, if you guys have or haven't seen that. And in that movie, like the Hulk, it's like the first movie where it happened, where it's like the character who plays the Hulk, or there's like the human Bruce Banner, I think, and then there's the Hulk, which is the Hulk, but he like combines the two, so it's like Smart Hulk, and he kind of has all his faculties, but he's also big and strong, like the Hulk. And they're almost reminding me of that, because like one of the scenes that like stuck out to me in a weird way for some reason was Paul Rudd, or Ant-Man, was like sitting outside of the compound in one of the scenes, and then like these other characters were just complete assholes to him. It was War Machine and the blue chick. I can't remember her name, so I'm so sorry for any Marvel fans who are like shouting their name at me right now. They're just complete assholes to Paul Rudd, and he's just sitting on the bench outside. And then Hulk, like I think like the characters landed in like a ship or something, and his taco got blown out of his hand, and the Hulk shows up after and walks up and sees that his taco got like blown away from him, and the Hulk just like smiles at him and gives him a taco, and he's kind of like this kind, like gentle giant. I'm just like, it's kind of like almost weird that the Hulk was like the kind one, in that movie. But for some reason, that's just one of the things they want me to say to you, is like being a kind, gentle giant, gentle on yourself, gentle on others. No matter if you're someone who's going to get big in the world, like no matter how big you get or how powerful you are or what position you're at in whether it's work or business or anything else, I just feel like the more kind you are, the better things are going to be, and the more people will respect you, is something I'm getting as well. But that's it for the Earth signs, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And the air signs, the sign for which is already just falling off the table towards me, so I guess it's important to jump into this. So I'm going to drink some water, as is custom. Hey, Sierra, how's it going? So nice. Okay. Sorry, I just really like that coffee. Okay, so air sign, Sun, Moon, and Rising. If you have an air sign, Sun, Moon, or Rising, this is for you when you see it. So if you're live, it's for you now. If you're in the future, it's for you when you're seeing it on YouTube or whatever. So the first message is, how can you best spend your time, was like the theme that they're kind of jumping in while I'm doing this. So how can the air signs best spend their time right now? Healing is what I'm getting. Self-reflection, and like growth. Whether it's booking healing sessions with people or doing your own self-healing, that's really important for you right now, is what I'm getting, and that would best serve your time, because you'll be ready to move forward in the future if you do that. Whereas otherwise, if you don't do that and then try to move forward, it's like trying to walk on broken stilts. It's just like the stilt breaks and you fall over and you have to heal anyways, is kind of what they're showing me. I'm gonna try and center myself. Okay. So self-healing is really important. I'm like, what you could do for yourself right now is spending what you can spend your time on. Anything else, they're also just showing, give me the word career. I feel like growing your career would be important for you to focus on right now as well, whether it's applying to new jobs or applying for a promotion or something of that nature. It's just important you're doing your best to, when you're ready, when it's time, like move up in the world, not stay stagnant, not stay bored is something I'm getting. So focusing on your career is another thing to sink your time into right now. Again, whether it's a new job or improving your current position or anything like that. But that's it for that's the recommendations I have on how best to spend your time. So we're just going to jump into what else would be for the highest good for you to know. So I have the channel messages written here, of course, and then my spirit guides, angels, and source will bring through any additional information that's for your highest good as I go through them. Just whatever else would be for your highest good. And again, I feel like almost every reading, except maybe the water sign, started with the word uplift. So for you guys, uplift, but for you, it's a little bit different than the other signs. They gave me the word treasure, and new treasure is finding you, is what they said. So especially where you felt left out in the cold, the treasure of a new life is upon you, as in you are headed towards a new life. So that's pretty big, but which is how I feel and what I'm saying as I read that. So that was weird that slipped through, but especially where you felt left out in the cold, whether that's a job loss or you got broken up with, or just you had a romantic thing and it didn't work out. I just feel like there's this new treasure coming in for you soon in the next month or so is what I'm hearing. And just like keep in mind you are headed towards a new life. And they're giving me this really weird visual, like someone living in a really cold climate, but then moving to a warm climate. I don't know, maybe that's something you're literally going to be doing soon, but they're also, I think it was also a message in there. It was like someone who lived in like, I don't know why I was getting Scandinavia. I don't even know if it's cold in Scandinavia. I don't remember where Scandinavia is. I think it's in Eastern Europe. But that's just the word they were giving me. Someone who lives in like a cold climate, hopefully that's a cold climate, and like moving to somewhere like Florida or somewhere tropical and warm and like paradise, if that makes sense. And that's like, in some ways your life is transitioning that way. And that's part of the meaning of new life is what I'm getting. Maybe some of you are literally moving, but I feel like that's also part of that message about like moving out of the cold, or like where you've been left out in the cold as well. So I think in other ways things are heating up for you in a good way, especially where things have been like stagnant or like not moving. So I'm getting like a lot of different visuals in a lot of different directions. So I'm going to take 1 second to just like, what's the summarized like most important message for me to get to for you right now on this. So fully for that is good from True Eyes and Mystic from the Source. What's the message? And there's kind of summarizing it, like I kind of already said, like moving from cold to warmth, but in general, like in every area, it's just like, it's time. And especially if you're focusing on your healing right now, it's going to happen. So that's where life is headed. Next message I have for you, rearrangement. If your path rearranges, it's for a good reason. The universe doesn't just do things to spite you. Let things rearrange. You will be happier for it. So like they're giving me the example of a relationship ending is like what they're showing me, like that would be a rearrangement of your path. Or like maybe you have a certain position at work and then they restructure and they move you to a different department, like that would be a rearrangement to your path. So if things rearrange on you like that, or maybe you have to move apartments or something like that, things rearrange for you in some way like that, it's you're going to be happier. It's leading you to something better. And it's might seem like a long tunnel where you're in one spot and you have to walk down this long corridor or tunnel to like where it's happier, but it's worth traversing this long corridor to the side where you're happier with things rearranging. So the rearrangement's almost like a transition, you could say, but they're showing you in one room and you're walking down this long hallway or corridor or tunnel and you get to this other room, and then it's really, really interesting because also in this other room that you're heading towards at the end of this long tunnel, there's this exit sign and a door, and you open this door and it's kind of like you're actually free and you have more freedom. So some of your path rearranging, even if it's disconcerting or seems like a long transition or just seems, you're like, why is this happening? It's actually setting you free. And actually, they're giving me the words dream life, moving you towards your dream life, I guess, as well. So it's almost like you're escaping from something at the same time through this rearrangement of your path, or this transition through this rearrangement of your path. That message went a lot deeper than I thought it would. So that's cool. But just keep that in mind. The main message is like to let things happen in a weird way. Like if the universe is trying to take something from your life, like don't cling to it, like let things happen, because it's like, it's really trying to rearrange things for you in the better. And they're kind of just showing you like maybe trying to change things. And we're going back to that visual of like the room, the long tunnel, the exit thing over here. It's like you might be in the starting tunnel and you're trying to get out, but you don't want to take the long tunnel because it seems like a lot maybe. And so you're like almost trying to like scratch at this wall over here and like dig your way out, because it's kind of like a cave at the same time. But it's like, it's not working, or it's like that would take like years to dig your way out of this thing. Because it's like, it's just like not the right way. You just have to let things rearrange and take the tunnel, metaphorically speaking. So hopefully that makes sense for you. But that's kind of what I'm getting. It's like clinging to things is almost like you're trying to force it to be this one way where you dig your way out of this tunnel, but this is not the right way to do things. So, or it would just take years. So anything else on that? Nope. Next message. You are meant for more. Just a reminder, you are meant for more than you think you are. And I think that's all that is. Was that channel message, that you are just meant for more. And I just feel like none of you are meant for small. Those of you tuning into this, like you might think you're meant for small things, small life, small people, small job, small career. I just don't feel like you are. I'm getting that you're not. So keep that in mind. Next message. Is there more on that? Okay, so I was kind of thinking like, oh, Elephant didn't show up for these readings, but Elephant is showing up for this message here on this one as well. So what's the message for you regarding Elephant? And one second, please. What's the message for you regarding Elephant here? So I feel like it's a little bit different than the rearrangement message, but it reminds me of it, but I don't think it's the same. They're showing you in this jungle, and you're like in this explorer's gear, and you're like lost in this jungle is what they're showing me. Like you're trying to find your way out. And then there's this elephant. But the thing about this jungle that you're lost in is there is literally a yellow brick road for you to follow that leads you out of the jungle. So there's either some type of change you can make that's really obvious, or some type of path that's really obvious, and if you take that path, it's like perfect. But maybe you're resisting it for some reason, because they're showing me this really funny thing. It's like they're showing this scarecrow. It's like maybe you are infatuated with Scarecrow Jim, and you want to. Can I say this on TikTok? You want to really be romantic with Scarecrow Jim or something, but it's like Scarecrow Jim is not going to fulfill you. It seems like a great thing, but it's literally a scarecrow. I don't know why they're using this analogy. And it's like you have to leave Scarecrow Jim behind and follow this yellow brick road. Otherwise, you're just going to be lost in the jungle with this stationary scarecrow that's not going anywhere. It's not doing anything. It just sits there and looks pretty and infatuates you, and you're just lost in this jungle. But if you're willing to leave that behind and no matter how attractive it might seem, and follow this yellow brick road of this obvious path that's presenting itself to you or will soon, you're going to find your way out of the jungle and to what you want is what I'm getting. So hopefully that makes sense. And I don't know if Scarecrow Jim is going to resonate for everyone as like a sign or anything, and hopefully that's just what they're showing me. So you are kind of being led out of the darkness into a better path is something I'm hearing in general. Next message, positive change. Where things seem hopeless, you are actually going to receive positive change. Stick it out. So just keep that in mind. If things seem hopeless, they're not. I would try to follow the yellow brick road of the obvious path that presents itself to you out of a situation or just to something better. And they're kind of showing like it might even be something really obvious, like someone willing to give you money. They're like, yes, take the money. Like they gave me some like absurd example of like someone's mom trying to give them $1 million. They're like, yes, take the $1 million, like take the money. Anyways, next message. They showed me a panda. They gave me the word odd. They said, even if you seem strange to others, it doesn't mean you aren't meant for great things. They gave me the example of Kung Fu Panda. You know, Kung Fu Panda, if you see that movie, I weirdly enjoy it. I don't know why. I don't sit around and just watch kids' movies all day, but I think some of those are a lot better than they're given credit for. But for some reason, that movie came to me when I was bringing through this message, where it's like he was kind of strange. He was kind of like the odd man out in a lot of ways. He was kind of seen as like hopeless and maybe even a pushover, but he became like in that movie, like he was the main character. He became like this great kung fu master, the greatest kung fu master that world had ever seen, I guess. But so you might think you're hopeless, some of you, but you're not, is something I'm getting. The other part of this message was, if pandas can survive in the wild, so too can you forge a path for yourself. So I know pandas are near extinct. That's not the message. I feel like this is better than that, because I was looking up, I got that message, I'm like, I don't know if that's like really as hopeful, because aren't they like extinct? But no, just keep in mind, like if animals like pandas can survive in the wild and they seem hopeless and they're goofy and they literally just like roll around and fall out of trees. It's like, you can probably make a name for yourself too, even if you feel like you're hopeless. And I feel like this is more optimistic than the plight of the pandas, if I'm gonna be real with you too. But just keep in mind, like, if pandas can survive, you are probably better at surviving than a panda. You can do something and make something for yourself too, and forge a path for yourself. Okay, and by forge a path, I know we just talked about yellow brick road and like forced transitions and all this stuff. What it means is like getting to success, essentially, is what I'd say. Next message here, leaf. I closed my eyes when I was doing these messages, and they just showed this leaf, and they showed a leaf falling from a tree and hitting a pond, like a pond or something like that. And the message was, even leaves lose their, oh my God, I said it backwards. Even trees lose their leaves. Yes, trees lose their leaves. If your life is shedding, know that things will regrow. So, trees, they lose their leaves, but they regrow back. So don't freak out if certain things are leaving. It's going to grow back. It's going to be 10 times better than ever before. So just keep that in mind. The next thing I have for you, kind of what we've already talked about a little bit, peaceful transition. Where you are worried about things not working out, you're going to see a peaceful transition to things that will work out. So again, I feel like all these different messages, they might be speaking to different things, but in my mind right now, the way it feels and looks like, they're all kind of speaking towards similar things. Sorry, I'm dropping things. Of like these, like either things rearranging, these transitions, this following this yellow brick road that's presenting itself. I feel like you're just being given this path to victory. If I were to combine these messages and sit with them all at the same time, and I feel like you're ignoring it. If I'm being really real with you, for most of you tuning in, like that's kind of something I'm getting, is like you're kind of being shown the way, but you kind of either poo-poo it, or you're infatuated with Scarecrow Jim over here, who's not going anywhere, who's just a scarecrow stuck in the ground, and like you're not moving forward. But there are all these signs like moving you forward if you will allow it, or like rearranging things. I think your job right now is to not cling to things, and of course, like with that earlier message, like to heal and like to book healing sessions with a practitioner in your area or someone you really like working with, something. I just feel like that's important. And then like allowing things to change and like following this yellow brick road, like allowing things to rearrange. I feel like that's really gonna lead you to like a lot better. So don't ignore it. It's like something I want to say as I sit with all of it together and like the pieces come together. Like don't ignore this stuff if you can avoid it. If you can avoid ignoring it, which you will. I just also feel like things are going to turn out a lot better for you than you realize if you're willing to let go of certain things that perhaps you're clinging to. So here's a way that I can clarify it where it might make more sense to you. If you've been clinging to something for years and it's not happening, it's not moving forward, nothing doing, maybe it's time to loosen your grip on that thing and try something else, or just see what else shows up, if that makes sense. And I'm not sure if that helped now that I'm talking to them a bit more about it, but hopefully you catch my drift. Next message here, Treasure Island, were the next words they gave me. They said, you are going to be having unique experiences that lead you to a unique treasure for you. The universe is moving mountains for you, and you will soon find that you are on a better road. Follow the unique road laid out for you. You will see it soon. So I feel like we know what that's talking about by now. But I do feel like I love the message, the universe is moving mountains for you. You're going to be having a lot of unique experiences. And I'm getting this repeat message, like you're just cut out for so much more than you realize. But they were showing me like, those like paper figures, and you like cut it out and it's like this string of like paper people holding hands, like in arts and crafts. They showed like when they were giving the words cut out for more than you realize, they were showing me that. So, which, they like to be like that. They're cutting something out and they're like, oh, you're cut out for it. It's funny for me. But the last thing I have here for you, non-tradition. It's okay if you go non-traditional, you will succeed that way. So if you're feeling called towards something non-traditional, whether it's like a different type of relationship than marriage, or, you want to start a business instead of doing a 9-to-5 is like the common example. Just do it, is what I'd say. Or if you want a career that's not normal, like, though maybe it will be normalized sometime in the future, like healing work or something like that. Like, yeah, move towards it. I feel like that's where it's at. I just feel like if you go traditional, you won't be as happy for most of you. And you might have to sit with your heart and see what feels true for you. But for 98+% of you, non-tradition in some area is going to be the better way for you. And you don't have to make your whole life non-traditional, but I feel like it's something you already want. In some area where you want that, you're being encouraged to go for it. But that's it for the air signs, Sun, Moon, and Rising. They are saying no more. So I hope that was helpful and made sense, and was fun. Or I guess it doesn't always have to be fun, but better than that. But I'm going to take 1 second to collect myself because I feel like I need it. I don't know what I'm picking up on right now. Maybe it's like the next reading, but hey, Destiny. So before we head to the water signs, I want to give a shout out to the moderators. I saw Rock and Robin earlier. I see Destiny here. I appreciate the heck out of you guys. You guys rock. Send in love. And if anyone in chat wants to just send some love and even some blessings their way, if the moderators want it, or just love and appreciation, that'd be great. They just really help this chat move forward in the best ways while I can focus on reading. So I really appreciate you guys. Aw, thank you, Destiny. Whew. All right, next message. Next reading after. Okay, no coffee. They don't want me to drink coffee before this. Okay, so water signs. Slap it on. No. I think I need to upgrade my signs. I think the sticky notes are starting to. Okay, so water signs, Sun, Moon, or Rising. If you have a water sign, Sun, Moon, or Rising, it's for you when you see it. Of course, if you're watching live, it's for you now. Let's dive in, shall we? So the first section, what would be highest and best for you to spend your time on? Honestly, enjoying life. There's two things. Moving forward and enjoying life are what I'm hearing. Like taking time for you, taking time to doodle and draw and have fun and play. It's important you're doing that at least for the next week or something, maybe the next month even. But just in general, around this time, that's a good thing to spend your time on. It might seem like not a good thing to spend your time on, but it really is. And like, think about it. If you were to spend your whole life like only striving towards, your targets that you want to achieve, your desires, and you spent zero time enjoying it, like what happens if something happens and there's an accident and you, God forbid, die in your 40s or something like that? Give me 1 second. It's like you spent all that time moving towards something and keeping your happiness in the future, and you didn't enjoy that 40 years that God had given you, so to speak, to live your life. So I know there are definitely times, and there have been times where, I've been guided to put my head down and like work, and it sucks, and it's like a couple years. It doesn't always have to suck for a couple of years. There are good times in there too, but or like you go through a healing crisis or something, and it's like you have to heal through this thing and release and take care of this, and it takes a little while to do it. It's like that happens, and that's okay. At the same time, if your whole life is just like striving for these things and you don't take any time to appreciate or enjoy the moment or anything like that, it's like, what are you doing? And it's like, what about all that joy you could have been experiencing along the way? And is it possible that you can go towards your dreams and what your targets are in life and your desires and enjoy the process and love every second of it, and like really enjoy your life even if you are working a lot or something like that? Like maybe there's a possibility there for you to consider, or something you can rearrange or change in your life, or just manifest it and see what shows up for you if you consider that possibility and ask for it. But that's why they want to kind of put some importance behind the message of like enjoying your life right now and like being free and having fun, and enjoying the moments in addition to moving forward. I think that's important. But that's it for like what would be most important for you to spend your time on right now for this time period. As far as the messages, I have the channel messages of course here that I channeled ahead of time in my spirit guides, angels, and source. we'll bring through any other additional messages that would be for your highest good as I'm going through these. The first thing they gave me was just like things working out. So I didn't take the time to channel any additional things ahead of time. But it's pretty simple. Things are going to be working out for you like easily. And I'm also getting the word like finally. It's like finally things are working out for you. Or like finally this thing's falling into place. Like finally things are happening and moving forward. Maybe you feel like you've been pushing a boulder up a hill. It's like finally you get it to the top and it can roll down the other side and move forward more easily. Things like that. But things are just going to be clicking into place next month or so and beyond even. It is time for it. You've done the work, a lot of you. It's time for things to work out. Next message, you are abundant and you have abundance coming, especially where you feel stuck. The universe is lifting you out of the mud so you can have the abundance you crave. Abundance is on the way. Abundance is on the rise. So a lot of messages on abundance when I was sitting with this reading, and I kind of condensed them. Never mind. They don't want me to get into that. But just know that there is abundance coming, and I would be moving towards abundance and calling it in and using your affirmations and moving towards it. And just, I think I said that twice. What is going on today? But I don't know. That's just the message. You are meant for abundance as well. And another message is on not to give it all away. There was a course, what would be highest enough for me to say here? There's a concept of abundance that I heard from Lee Harris, who did this. Should I talk about it or not? Okay, I'll say it. He did this course called Upshift Your Abundance, essentially, which is phenomenal, I think, when I went through it. But one of the things he talked about was like, and I'm not going to divulge all the content of the course, but one of the things he talked about was like being an ambassador of abundance, where it's like when you have a lot of abundance, it's like, you get to be an ambassador of like, where does that abundance go? Like, what does that abundance do in the world? Like, do I give it to this person? Do I invest in my business? Do I donate to this charity? Like, once you have this abundance, like, what can you do with it? And like, one thing they're kind of saying is like, you don't have to give it all away tomorrow, the second you have abundance. Like, you can keep some of it or a lot of it for yourself until you know what you want to do with it. Or I'm not saying you need to be a narcissist and be a rich person in your mansion and never, swan dive into your money. Like, what was that character from the cartoons who was like the rich Uncle Duck who had all the money? I don't know. But you don't have to give it all away once you have it, and you're not selfish for not giving all your abundance away once you have it, if that makes sense. So be careful of giving all your abundance away, whether you already have it or if you're going, well, when you have it, I suppose you could say. No matter what form that takes, whether it's crystals, whether it's money, whether it's, you'll know. That's just a message that they want to give you as well, is like, it's okay to hold on to it. And like, you can even use your abundance to cultivate more abundance, and then you have more to give away, and then you can be in a better position to give. So keep that in mind. Moving right along, next message, you are meant for more than you realize. So I think that came through for the air signs, right? But for you as well, you might think you are meant for a lowly office job or something of that variety, and it is okay if you are there. However, you are meant for so much more than you realize, even if you haven't seen it yet. It is time to forge your adventure to move towards your greatness. It might not be handed to you right away, but if you move towards it, it will be given. The universe will give greatness to those who deserve it. Interesting message. So, I'm getting a weird message, like, if you move towards your greatness, you will have greatness. So if you're moving towards abundance, you will have abundance. It is kind of a reminder to like take action on certain things as well. But I'm kind of getting this message of like, good things come to those who take action. Excuse me. Do I think it's possible to manifest great things and all this stuff without taking action? It absolutely is. At the same time, if you are trying that and trying that and trying that and trying that and nothing is happening, or it's not getting you the results you want, try taking action on top of it and see like what happens when you're doing multiple things to move the energies in that direction and manifest something. It's just time to move towards what you want, is just what I'm hearing. I feel like this is self-explanatory and I'm trying to explain it better. And it's like, I have the concepts and like the energy and the knowing, but I haven't quite got the words to translate it quite yet for you guys. So what would be high so much for me to say on all this here? one of the messages, the way they're clarifying it is like, you're not necessarily stuck being small, but if you feel like you are stuck in like a smaller position, it's time to forge your path out of that. It's like, because they're showing like in an office job, but then you take like a blowtorch to like the wall and like, or like, how like in the episode 1 Star Wars movie, they like use that lightsaber to like cut through like walls and stuff. They're just they're showing like a similar concept where it's like you're forging your path out of that smallness and forging the adventure and like taking that leap and creating something that like gets you there, as opposed to waiting. So that's just something I'm getting. So you're meant for more than you realize, and I would take action towards it. And you do deserve great things. Sometimes you just have to move towards it to bring it in. I feel like that's just an important message for you right now. And many of you already are, so maybe if you can take more action, if you are at your limit, don't worry about it, just keep moving forward. Next message here, they give me the word flow. They just said you are flowing more and you will see great results because of it. So I would just stay in flow if you feel like you're flowing more with things. I would also I was just going to get a message of inviting in ease, and like that'd be a good idea. But the next message I have channeled down for you is ease is on the way. You deserve ease, and ease is coming. So I would invite it in, but I also feel like it's coming in. And maybe this is just for my own, I don't know. One thing I'll also say is like ease doesn't mean like low quality. Ease can be like really high quality. Like a professional welder can do a really like the world's best job with ease. Is like, if they have, that's just an example that's coming to me. So keep in mind that ease doesn't have to mean poor quality. If things are easy for you, it doesn't mean bad things. And it's coming to mind, would it be for good for me to get into this right now? No. Okay, we're gonna move on. So next message here, they gave me the word fire. They just said, please to, I don't know if it's Mercury in retrograde or what, but how can I say this with ease? Please ensure you are following your passions and keeping your zest for life alive. It is important you pursue what is important to you. So just a reminder to follow your passions, keep your zest for life alive. I just feel like if you bring in more of what you're passionate about, you're going to thrive. That's a message I'm getting. I know I said the word feel, but that's literally what I heard. So I'm trying to get better about using the right terms for what's happening. I'm just getting like, if you bring more of what you're passionate in, you're going to thrive. So I would do that. Even if it doesn't seem related to like what you're doing or building in the world, it can also inspire a lot and keep you happy. And that happiness will translate into everything else you're doing. So if you're passionate about guitar, for instance, or playing guitar, and you have a career in tech or you have an office job, it's like, even if you playing guitar doesn't seem to directly translate to your success and what you're building in the world, and maybe even your purpose, though I think purpose and passion can really line up most, if not all of the time. In this example, you playing guitar and doing what you're passionate about is going to help you just feel more alive in your day-to-day, and you'll feel more inspired and more like you'll look forward to, getting home and playing guitar. You'll have something to look forward to. So all of a sudden your work becomes more easy, more joyful, because you have this joy over here that's spilling out into the rest of your life. So just keep that in mind, please, about your passions. So can I check? Okay, battery life is good. Next message here, big uplift. So uplift came through for everybody. So 1 second here. You are receiving a major uplift to your life, and they almost like gave me this weird visual of like you in the clouds, but like they showed like God giving you like a grant or like granting you this uplift. So I don't know if some of you are literally getting a grant of money, but the message here is tracks changing. And we talked about this for the fire signs, I think, a little bit, but your metaphorical train will be going on higher and better tracks. So in some instances, you might feel like your life is reversing, but it's actually going in a better direction than ever before, and you'll find yourself way ahead of where you were before very quickly. For others of you, it is simply just a change that leads to something way better. And we talked about tracks changing for the fire signs. If you were here, if you were not here for that, what would be for that? Good for me to get into on this here. I'll just talk about it really briefly. There's this concept called the 100 monkeys. I've heard multiple people talk about it. And essentially scientists watched this one monkey start to wash fruit, and then he taught the other monkeys to wash the fruit before eating it. And what they observed was that monkeys, after like a certain amount of monkeys were washing the fruit, different communities of monkeys that were not directly physically connected to this first iteration of monkeys that was washing fruit the world over began to wash fruit before eating it, like because there was a certain threshold reached in the collective of monkeys, monkeys washing fruit. So in like, there's a similar concept in access consciousness they talk about where like tracks change and like more becomes possible for all of humanity, and like you have a higher reality, higher possibilities, more, etc. I don't feel like you're ever limited in the first place regarding what's possible, but I think sometimes the door can be opened wide more easily for everybody. All that being said, it's like kind of something similar is going to be happening for each of you, and like even like all the other signs as well. It's just like I feel like yours is happening like now or very soon. I think I can't remember what I said during the fire signs reading, but that's what I'm hearing now. For the water signs, I do feel like this like track changing kind of thing for you guys, where the tracks change and everything gets better, or you're just being granted to a higher trajectory and like more doors are opening for higher possibilities. And you know, like that South Park quote, there's like that ski instructor, and they're kind of spoofing or parodying that, and they're saying it's gonna be a good time, or you're gonna have a good time. So I don't know if all of you remember that quote, but I feel like you're gonna have a good time with that. Next message here, on a different note, shark spirit animal. Well, shark showed up. I don't know if it's about shark spirit animal, but we'll see. The message was fear. If you face fear, fear dissolves. Do not let fear run your life. You will not get as far as you want if you let fear run your life. Face fear and you will succeed. It is important you are not letting fear dictate you. So I think I said the same thing in like 5 different ways there. Not me, it was just what channeled through, but I think it gets the message across pretty well. I need to take a deep breath here. If you're willing to like face fear, and like, for instance, maybe you want to start a bagel shop and you're just afraid of what will happen with money, what will happen if I don't make it, what will my mom's think of me or whatever, but they're just like face the fear and do it anyway, feel the fear, do it anyway kind of thing. It's just one way to overcome fear is moving towards it. And I think that's circumstantial. For instance, like if you're afraid of, well, I don't know, maybe that would help too, but if you're afraid of like getting stung by a scorpion and dying, like you probably don't want to like face that fear by getting stung by a scorpion and dying, but you can perhaps get around a scorpion and realize you could avoid getting stung by it pretty easily and not worry about it. But this is more about like success, I want to say, or like even relationships. Like you're afraid of getting hurt, but it's like maybe the best way to face that fear is not necessarily getting hurt, but dating and like getting it out there again and like forcing yourself to work through that emotion, instead of being limited and stuck by it. Especially like business, the more you face fear in business or something you really want to do, I feel like the faster you succeed. So if you're afraid of something, do it anyways. I don't want to beat a dead horse on that one. Next message here was just to be ferocious in your endeavors and you will succeed, essentially, is the message. So I would be pretty ferocious in taking action and like moving the needle, pushing the needle, I guess you could say, towards what you want and towards success. I just feel like that would be helpful. So what else would be high so much for you right now? Alligator spirit animal is showing up, and usually that one does show up with a message of like being ferocious or having ferocity here. So let me see if there's a further message for you on this one. Fully for last kid. Crocodile would be another alternative, but what's going on here? So side message, if there's been anything like ancestral you've been working through, like ancestral healing or something like that, or some type of like ancient patterning or something you've been healing, that's been keeping you from moving forward, I feel like that's actually going away so you can move forward is something they're showing me, which I don't know why crocodile relates back to ancient history, but it does somehow. But that's just something I'm getting for you guys as well. It could also be something past life you're healing. Give me 1 second here. So, sorry, I just had to take a second to sit with something there. But just keep that in mind, you're overcoming some type of ancient patterning or familial history or ancestral healing to overcome something here. The other thing crocodile is showing me is like a deep dive, like, because you know they swim underwater. I don't know how deep they actually really go. I think that's more like fish territory, but it's what they're showing me. But it's also like it's like a for the highest good. It's like a deep dive into your soul, if that makes sense. So a lot of soul aspects that have been hidden, whether it's and it's for the highest good, like tools or things you can do that you didn't realize you could do, or like purposes for this life are actually being unlocked soon, and being brought forward so you can like really be all that you can be. And it's something that spirit animal is helping you with, weirdly enough. And that seems like a weird one to do that, but I don't make the rules. I don't think, maybe I do, but I just channel the messages. So I do more than that, but that's just the message that came through. So, anything else for the water signs, sun, moon, and rising? I also get you're on the right track. I can't remember if I said that for you guys already or not, but I do feel like you're on the right track. They're showing me things transforming. I feel like things have always been transforming, but I feel like it's going to be transforming more quickly, like even this month. I just feel like you're going to see things transforming for you like faster than usual. And I feel like normally maybe you're like waiting for things to happen. I don't think you're going to be. I think it's going to be happening before your eyes rather than you like waiting for things to transform or like waiting for the right moment. It's like, it's just going to be time, which is good. But that's it for they're showing me candy canes. So they said that's it, and then they showed me candy canes. So give me 1 second on what the last messages are for you here. What's up with this? If you're spending too long on something or with something, I feel like you're going to be like swept out of it. So they showed this concept of like, I feel like there were multiple things, but one of the main things they're showing me is like, you know how people on stage, and like it was like a kind of a trope on cartoons that they would kind of make fun of, where it's like someone's like on stage, but they're on stage too long, and this like big cane reaches out and just like pulls them off the stage. It's almost like that for you. Like if you're spending too long on something or doing something, maybe with someone, I don't think that's it though. I feel like you're just gonna be like swept off that, swept away from that thing, and to like either a better stage or like what you're actually supposed to be doing. So I don't feel like you're gonna be able to delay things, which is a good thing, is one of the messages coming through. Anything else on candy cane for you guys? Nope, we're going to close the reading for that one. So that was it for the water signs, sun, moon, or rising. I hope that was helpful and made sense. And I feel like life is going to get easy for you guys, or easier. But I heard easy, so I think that's good. But that's it for that. I'm going to drink some water, and then we'll probably do a channel. Okay, I was going to drink coffee, but they're like, don't drink coffee, just channel. Okay. So we are going to do if you've been watching these lives, you know what I'm about to do. I'm going to do I'm going to directly channel my spirit guides, the angels and source, where they're just like speaking directly through me for the highest good. So I didn't get a theme on what this will be about yet. I feel like it's about new trajectories, but we'll see what they want to bring through and where the channel goes. So I'm going to put this sign on the wall, and then I'm going to, and the name my spirit guides gave me for them was the Angelic Collective of Zorbital, if that's important to anyone. I don't know if the names always matter as much as like what's actually going on, but that's the name they gave me when I asked for one. At first they were like, we don't have names up here, you know that. I'm like, yeah, you're right. And then they gave me one anyway, so I'm like, okay. So give me like, well, let me see, give me 1 second. Okay, give me like a minute maybe, or less. Sometimes it happens like instantly, but I might like start coughing. Usually I cough before I like get into, I guess you could say, full channel mode, but, and then they'll probably laugh, and then they'll start the message, and then they'll go for however long they want to. So here we go. Give me like 30 seconds. Well, welcome to this particular message for you whenever you see it, of course. This is about an uplift, and it's an uplifting message for you are ready for upliftment. Many of you are so tired of being down or going through dreary things or even seeing the world how it is, but your personal lives are about to uplift. And that is one of the messages we wish to just say with this channel. Things are going to be uplifting you. And we also wish to urge you to create that. And how can you create your own upliftment? Some of you are wondering when you seem so dependent on other messages, other people, other things happening for you to be uplifted. It's time for you to work on connecting for the highest good for yourselves, to the divine, to source, to your spirit guides, whatever that looks like. You don't have to do this right now. You don't need to figure it all out tomorrow. But the more you venture towards that, the more you can get your own upliftment, the more you're bringing higher frequencies into your world and transforming things for yourself through your own messages. But the more you're moving towards that, and we will encourage you to do that, even if you do not think you can. Even if it takes more than just a day to get it completely honed in, it's worth moving towards and considering doing it on the side for yourselves, because that's going to uplift you. It's one of the paths to upliftment. So how do you do this? Well, there are many resources out there for you to check out when it comes to channeling your spirit guides or looking into it. The main thing we will tell you first is to ask to do it, to put it out there to the universe that you wish to do this. And of course, there is divine timing in what you are ready for. It might not happen perfectly tomorrow for you if you are new to it and have never considered channeling before, though it might for some of you who are wired for that, and it is part of your path and you're supposed to be doing it. But you could, of course, take out a sheet of paper. You could write down for the highest good and set your intentions that you wish to channel, only what's for the highest good for you to channel. And you can ask, what would your spirit guides like to tell you? What would the angels like to tell you? What would source like to tell you? What would spirit like to tell you? Whatever variation of these words you wish to use is perfectly fine. For the important thing that you are doing is showing up, and that is always important, is showing up and setting an intention. And those two things are powerful for any endeavor, not just channeling, not just energy work. For if you are setting an intention and then showing up, you are doing anywhere from 50 to 80% of the work right there. And the universe can take that momentum and energy and take it from there and make the rest happen. Depending, of course, on what you are doing. But once you do that, you can just simply see what messages come through. Do you hear anything? Do you see anything? And maybe nothing happens, but you're moving the ball in that direction. You're gaining momentum towards something you want by showing up and doing it, even if you don't think it works right away. One thing Brandon has heard that is important to note when you are learning to do something etheric like this is that showing up and trying gets you in the frequency of doing that thing, such as receiving messages. So even if you do not seem to receive a message in that first attempt, you are moving the energies in that direction and creating your ability to do so in the future. Van Gogh did not create his most brilliant painting on his first attempt. Very few artists have. Such is the same with any task. And you might create something beautiful right off the bat, something amazing. For instance, if you were to start a business, some people do get lucky is one way you could say it, or just happen to put the pieces together just right to create the perfect first business and everything flows. It happens. But if that person were to keep building businesses beyond that first one, they might find they get better at it. And some of you may find this information boring. You're like, yes, of course, if I keep doing something, I get better at it. But that is powerful information. And And we are translating that information from your physical, or some of you might call 3D learning, though it is beyond 3D. It is possible to be 5D physical, energetically, on a frequency bandwidth. You are above and beyond 3D. We are telling you right now, the vast majority of you tuning in. Some of you might still be 3D, and we would urge you not to judge yourselves if you think that is you, for it is very possible to transcend that very quickly. The energetics are just moving in that direction where it's impossible to be 3D as you move forward, as things progress. It will get to that point. But we are taking these physical learning tools and translating them for you towards etheric learning, to things like channeling or energy work, because some of you think it's not the same. But some of those same principles applies. Not all of them apply, but some of them. One of the reasons we're talking about this is you might not think you can uplift yourself, but you can. And channeling is one of those ways to do so. You connecting is powerful for you and everyone on the planet. And connection itself is uplifting. Connection itself, for the highest good, is uplifting. So the other thing you can do to create and seek more upliftment is connection, whether it's through art, whether it's connection with nature, connection with the earth, connection through energy healing and connecting with a modality or an energy, connecting with source through channeling, as we talked about previously, connecting with each other in a positive way that is highest aligned. That is going to uplift you as well. For if everyone on earth were connected, things would constantly be uplifted. There would be much less strife, much less negative questioning, much less doubt. People would feel on their paths. Connection with source and each other would solve a lot of the Earth's predicaments as they are right now. Disconnection is one of your main causes of suffering. Disconnection from each other, disconnection from your dreams, and we mean your aspirations when we say dreams, not necessarily your nighttime dreams. Disconnection from the soul, which none of you are really experiencing, by the way. Not those of you in this group. That is the leading cause of suffering. And so many of you, maybe perhaps not you in this crowd, perhaps in the past, but so many people seek to remedy that through drugs, through alcohol, through things that numb the pain. But what they're really seeking is connection. A more connected society would heal a lot of you. For when you're connected, you are not discounting others' emotions. You're not discounting others' experiences. You're not coming from a place of me, which none of you do. You might think you do. It's rare for this crowd. But people would be more open to what is the other experiencing. And they'd be more willing to connect and help them with that. When it's right for them to do so. Because of course you cannot be a amoeba that is pulled in a million different directions and connected in a way where you have to solve everyone's problems, is what we mean by this, and pulled in a million different directions by that, and then there is just no more of you because you're pulled in a million directions. Of course, we urge you to have boundaries so you can have the right connections for you and you're not trying to help everyone. But in general, when you're connected, you're going to be helping the people that you're meant to help. So some of the things you can do to seek further upliftment would be connecting with nature, connecting with a friend, connecting with a passion or something that calls to you. And that is the advice we leave you with, aside from learning to connect for yourself with source, is connecting with others around you for upliftment. But upliftment is a natural thing that's coming in for you as well. There is a wave of upliftment cascading through the collective as we speak and going forward. And some of you might not feel it right away. It might be delayed, but it is coming. And by, as you would call it, Christmas time or the holidays, many of you will feel or be more uplifted, and you'll be able to bring that energy for others. And part of the reason we urge you to create more upliftment, or recommend that you learn how to, is so you can bring that energy to the world and to others. For as you create that upliftment for yourself or for another, there's that ripple effect of upliftment that rolls through the collective. And we do not speak of blowing smoke up people's bums or, as some might say, giving false hope by just saying the positive thing regardless of the actual circumstances. Because even in connecting with another when they are going through a hard time, that is uplifting for them. And perhaps for you, you feel good afterwards as well because you have assisted another and you get that rush, that feeling that you get when you do that. That joy. And the more you uplift yourself, the more you'll be in a place to do that for others. And the more the collective gets uplifted. And you see the ripple effects of your actions and of what you're creating and of what you're choosing. Even just cultivating a skill like channeling could uplift millions, especially regarding the people you reach after you've honed in that skill. But you do not have to do it that way. It could be intuition, it could be art, it could be something else. But as you're creating this upliftment, as you're creating these frequencies for yourself and then bringing it to the world around you, you're changing everything. And change in some ways starts with you in that way, with all of you. So what frequencies can you cultivate? Yes, through manifesting them and bringing them through from source and letting source show you how to do that thing if you're not sure. So for example, if you come away from this channel and you don't know what we talked about and are unsure of how to go about creating upliftment for yourself or others, regardless of what we've said, you could say, universe, please show me what it will take for me to create upliftment. Show me what upliftment is like. Show me what that even is. And show me how to create more of it. Thank you so much. And then you just let that manifest. And when you let that manifest and you have it show up and you pay attention, you see it, then you know how to do that in the future. You know what upliftment is, you know how to create it, and you can do anything in that way, including how can I create more abundance? Or how can I begin to bring more peace to the world? And so you can begin to create just by asking, of course, as well. And we do not want to take away from that tool that you may be utilizing in that way. But getting back to the main message, you uncovering these things and cultivating them within yourselves and creating more of it changes the planet. And you are at a critical changing point, a boiling point, if you will. And there are multiple. You are on the second one, if you will, that has come up of late, where tracks change. And we brought through those messages during the readings, so we will not delve too far into that. But the possibilities are expanding, the possibilities for healing, the possibilities for joy, even new frequencies, and perhaps even emotions you have not encountered before because higher possibilities are unveiling, and you may not have the word for the new frequency you are experiencing that is above and beyond the rest or high vibe and up there. For why do you limit yourselves to just the words that you have, like love, like joy, like peace? What if there's more? Have you considered that? There is more, we would like to say. And what would it take for you to invite that in? Ask for it. There are possibilities beyond what you think is possible if you're willing to receive it, if you're willing to go beyond and consider those possibilities. There are more emotions available to you than have been handed to you on the palette of preconceived human emotions that you were given as a kid. And yes, some of those are wired in, and thus they had names given to them, but there's more. And that's part of this track change, is this expansion to humanity. And you are at this boiling point where more comes in. In the next few months, you will see a lot of changes because of that. We do mainly speak to the period you are watching this live, when this is originally filmed. If you see this in the future, you will be hitting a personal boiling point. And of course, many of you live right now are as well. But collectively, the boiling point is hit and things will begin to spill over. Thus, more upliftment. Thus, the expansion of possibilities. And there are more beyond this one. Many of you think it is just one boop and then you're done. Humanity saved. Not that you need saving. Many of you think you are doomed. You're not. It's an old story. As old as the ages. Not doomed. But there are more boiling points, you could say, transition points, track change points that you're expanding into over the next decades. And 2022 is a big one. We leave you with that message. We hope you find yourselves uplifted by our messages, but also that you are able to create more upliftment and other frequencies you'd like to see through your actions and intentions going forwards. And please remember that action creates change. Yes, you can manifest change all on your own just by thinking about it. Yes, the possibilities for that exist. It'll be easier to manifest going forward. But if you are not sure how to change things, just take an action. Just try. And you'll be amazed at the mountains that move. Resistance to change is also leaving, on one last note. So many of you who are resistant to change will find it's easier to change. And that is where we will end it. You are meant for so much more than you realize, and it's time to realize it. We wish you all the best. All the love and joy that's for you. And please remember, your life is not stuck as it is. It will change. We are signing out for now. Farewell. Ooh. I'm gonna drink the coffee now. All right. You're welcome, guys. I hope that was good. Okay, I'm okay. I just need a second. You're welcome, light us up. Thank you, Rock and Robin. You're welcome. I'm looking forward to it, Jenna. I hope it's super helpful for you. I get it will be, but I will see you then, Jenna. You're welcome, baby doll. Oh, as I was about to drink drink water first. Yeah. I drink the coffee. We'll get the water in there. Amazing readings and channels. Thank you. You're so welcome, Dana Burns Art, and thank you. I'm really glad to hear it. Cool. So I can hang out for a bit is what I'm getting. I don't know how much longer I'll be hanging out for. I'm probably not going to do one-on-one readings for this live right now after all that, but we'll see what I end up being guided to do. I'm guilty as well, grabbing water right now. So if you guys are up to just like hang out for a bit, I think I'm just getting to hang out for a bit, which normally they have me like end it right away. But I think we'll just hang out. What's new? Any projects? Yeah, so there's a couple. One thing they want me to tell you about that is almost ready to launch. I have it like right there, so I feel comfortable talking. I don't usually like to talk about things until I just do them, me personally. I like to just do things and then talk about it, but I have a store that I'm launching soon. Excuse me. So I know some of you have heard me talk about it, the Phileumi, the modality I channeled through with like all these symbols and their corresponding energies you can work with for energy healing. But I had this visual to do it like 2 years ago, and I'm finally getting around to it, where like just putting it on like certain symbols on like shirts or on like wall art, so that you have that frequency working for the highest good, that energy and that modality working for the highest good, like either wherever you go or like in your home. So I'm going to be launching like a merch store that has those on it, those like channeled symbols, and so it's going to be doing the energy work wherever it goes, sort of thing. So, and I think I'll still end up teaching classes for that modality, because I have so many symbols. I don't think I'm going to be using all of them in the merchandise, but that's one of the projects I'm working on that's coming out soon, probably October. But it's like it's there. I've already invested the hundreds of dollars to get it all put together, so I don't think I'm backing out of it. The other project I'm working on soon is a membership. So we'll see how that goes and what I end up doing with that. But that's, I also, maybe I'll ask if there's anything you guys that have been around and would be interested in that want to see with that, because right now I have it geared towards, and it's pretty much ready to go. I just need to put the content together and launch it. It's ready. But it probably will be around October is that. But one of the things that is, I have like weekly readings is one of the things, either like pick a reading. I'd call it pick a card, but I'm not really using cards. So it's like pick a reading. Then also like I do like a monthly channel. So like these channels that I do at the end of the TikTok lives, it's like way longer. It's like 30 minutes to an hour. And so like that channel transmission is like you're with that more, and they can get more information through. I did a longer one that they want me to keep secret, but it's too late because I talked about it. That I think I'm going to start doing longer one of those in general in different platforms. But like each month you get one of those. You get depending on the level you get a channeled guided meditation for the highest level every month as well. And then you get weekly readings, and then maybe some other things too that I've thought about putting together. Hi Faithy, how's it going? That's a cool name, by the way. What shop platform are you going to use? So for the merchandise, I'm using Squarespace. Honestly, I'm using the Squarespace commerce. I have that all set up. For the membership, I'm using, I have a Kajabi site that I started. I've been working on it for months now. I invested those are not cheap. I invested like a yearly like lump sum into it ahead of time, and I like have not done the work to make money yet. So I'm like, need to get that started. But that's what's kind of happening. Thanks, Lainey. Yeah, I'm really excited. I feel like I've been working on these things for a long time, so it's cool to see them potentially finally get out in the world and see how they do. So I'm really excited to see what happens. We'll all be there to support. That means so much. And you guys mean the world to me. Like, it means so much that I get to show up and do this. And of course, my intention is that it just adds just as much value as would be for the highest good, for it to add as much as I can. That would be for the highest good through these things. And so yeah, I'll absolutely do my best to make it the best it can be for everybody. Thanks, Dana Burns Art. So Ruda is asking, I'm interested about blinking when channeling going on. This helps somehow, or it's just reaction? I don't have it. I mean, I'll see if they'll give me an explanation. I don't have an explanation. What I get is it's the energy and feeling the energy come through. I think it's just my reaction to the channeling. I know not I know like certain other, I don't watch a lot of other channelers. I think like Lee Harris is probably one of the only other like channelers I've listened to or watch consistently. I don't think he does that, but for whatever reason, that's just what my body does when I'm doing it. So yeah, I'm not really like trying to do it. It just keeps happening. So I don't know if that answers it, but that's the best answer I have for that. Okay, I told myself only bug you this last time, Reiki 1. Yes, okay, I'm doing that soon. Hi, Faithy. So I just had another person reach out and email me on a Reiki 1 class as well this morning. So I'm gonna set that up probably in October, like halfway through October. So, and I know there's someone who wanted a Reiki 2 class, but not on a weekend. So I'm gonna try and do that too. So let me see here. Yeah, so I'm going to set up a Reiki 1 class for middle of October. I'll do that today or sometime this week soon. And then I don't know if you want to just send me a contact through my website, and so I have your email and I can just let you know when it's there, Melissa V68, or how you want to go about that. But that'll be up soon on my website. Thanks, Sandra Curls. I appreciate it. I'd love to learn beginner's Reiki with you. I'd be honored. Yeah, if you feel called to that, it should be up on my website scheduler this week. Is something I'd say. Reiki 2 anytime. It's coming, Sean. I think October, I'll set all my classes up for October for that, which will be good because I need to just get all those rolling. Lainey says, Brandon, I keep having this thought pop in my head that we share a guide or something. No, yeah. What I get is like sort of, if you work with angels is the answer I'm getting. In a sense, in a way, maybe not directly, but in a way, yes. That's like a weird answer, but that's what I'm getting. Can't wait for Reiki 2. Yeah, that's coming. So I'll do a Reiki 2 class during a weekday. I don't know if that's going to work for everyone, but I'll probably have another one on a weekend coming up too soon. I'm honored, Sean. That's awesome. I really appreciate it. Brandon is busy. Yeah, I didn't realize how busy I was until I started talking to you guys about it. I'd love to have a 4 to 6 week, 60 to 90 minute week channeling workshop with you, just video, no extra content. Light is up. Do you mean learning to channel, or like me just channeling messages to you, like over the 4 to 6 weeks? Because I really would be cool with either of those. Maybe I'll do both. I don't know. Dana Burns art. Okay, maybe I shall email you to get on your Reiki 1 list. Please do. That way it's just easier for me to communicate it to the right people at the right time. I highly recommend this Reiki 1 class. Thank you so much, extra small popsicle. I really appreciate it. All right, so I'm gonna get my Reiki classes together. I'll get the next round together. I'll get everything else I'm doing together. Okay, cool. I know what I'm doing this week. So, learning and tuning my own channel with the group. Yeah, I'd love to do that. I don't know if I'll end up using the content I did, but I did film like a whole channeling course, or like most of one, put together. And I don't know if I'm going to do that or if I'm going to restart it and do it a little bit differently, because I just feel like, but yeah, I'm going to sit with that and see what I can put together for that. Cause, I think that would be really good for me to do a Light is Up. So I will definitely write down that idea. Thank you. I know that'll be good for you guys who participate in it as well. Channeling workshop 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, love it. I like your profile. Your jeans are so cool. Thank you. Oh, you mean like the profile on my face? Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a cool compliment. You're right, Lainey. Yeah, Archangel Michael is a big one for sure. Okay. So I know we just talked about everything I'm going to be doing the next like 2 months, but awesome, Jenna. I hope it's super helpful for you. It is really interesting how we all turn out unique with image. I think it's interesting too. You always have the most red shirts. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, this one's, it's an oldie but a goodie. But I didn't wear it very much for like a few years, so I guess maybe it's still kind of new in a way. Okay. I mean, they're kind of pointing towards me. How do you move past old businesses to new ventures? Is this for me personally? I don't know if this is about like your situation. I mean, I'll see if I get a better answer, but for me, it's just kind of like just start, if that makes sense. Like just start building a new thing and see where that seed grows to. I don't know if you meant something more specific. I apologize if I'm missing what you're trying to say. Okay, I need to end it clearly because I'm starting to hit that wall. Had a lot of fun in this live. Me too. I'm so glad to hear it. So I need to wrap it up because I'm hitting this wall here. And it's not one of those walls I should push through, because sometimes there's a wall you need to push through. This group is super rad. I feel very just appreciative of like how cool all of you guys are, because like you're not assholes. You're kind, you're great to interact with. So I want to say again, I appreciate the heck out of you guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I hope you have a beautiful week. I will see you next Sunday, and I'll get everything we talked about going soon here. I'll get the Reiki classes going, and thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I hope you got whatever would be for the highest good for you to get out of what I did today, for the highest good, and I'll see you soon. Before I kind of, I don't think I'm going to pass out, but before I kind of space out here. Okay. Love you guys. Take care.